This weekend, we found out about another pretty big secret. This one is truly bone-chilling, and it changes everything you thought you knew about the judicial branch. Over the weekend, the little-known paper called The Washington Post and Britain's Guardian discovered how secretly the federal intelligence surveillance courts operate. Now this, as I'm reading it, is happening underneath, according to The Washington Post, underneath the Capitol, several stories underneath the Capitol, and it is the Star Chamber. Courts that are so powerful but so secretive that our judiciary is all but irrelevant. This one is called the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court. You may have heard of it, but very few of us know exactly what this secretive court does and how it operates. It has close to zero transparency. Even though Obama insisted that it does, it doesn't. I want you to know we're footnoting this segment so you can look it up yourself, because I know it's conspiracy theory. No, it's not. If you have a problem with it, go after the people that I'm citing, not me. The Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court, or FISC, was authorized under the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act of 1978. All the hearings and decisions are conducted in secret. Their disclosure is limited, as it was further explained in a letter from the Attorney General's assistant to Harry Reid. The government contacts this secret court when it wants to spy on an individual. While we still don't know how they reach their decisions, we do know that 98% of the requests were approved. Last year, there were 1,865 requests made from the government to spy on Americans. They approved 98%. I want to show you a graph that shows all of the presidents. Here's Bush, here's President Obama. Under Obama's presidency, it shows that he himself has made 6,556 surveillance requests. Who were these people? And how many were granted? How many were denied? Denied? One. Just one. Our source? Just a study put together by the Federation of American Studies using the info they gathered from the Intelligence Surveillance Court itself, the Federal Judicial Center, and the Department of Justice. The Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court has been overseen since 2006, and it's been overseen by this guy. This guy is a man named John Bates. He's a U.S. District Court judge. Ever heard of him? Well, according to an article published again in The Washington Post by Peter Walston, Carl Lenning, and Alice Kreitz, on June 22nd, the U.S. District Court Judge John Bates appeared before dozens of senators earlier this month for an unusual, highly top-secret briefing. The briefing was to give the public, quote, a peek into the little-known workings of a powerful and mostly invisible government entity, and it is seeing a court whose secret rulings have in effect created a body of law separate from the one on the books. Is that disturbing? Is that not the Star Chamber? Senator Ron Wyden, a Democrat on the Intelligence Committee who has access to several of the court's classified rulings, said that, quote, the government can get virtually anything. That means your health, your guns, your credit cards. Says it's not what has been done, it's what can be done. What the surveillance court has issued, he says, are, quote, pretty stunning rulings. Rulings that I think are about as expansive as anything you can imagine. This guy's not a whistleblower. This guy's a Democrat who is trying to wake America up. The problem is, we don't know what they've obtained, because this court operates literally underground, several stories under the Capitol, and this president has yet to release a single document with any information on the proceedings. The Washington Post continues. It's now issuing complex, classified, Supreme Court-style rulings that are quietly expanding the government's reach into the private lives of unwitting Americans, and you don't know anything about it. Neither do I. Now, that's not my crazy right-wing small government conspiracy. No. That's according to members of Congress from both parties. And again, our source, The Washington Post. That's it. So, you don't like The Washington Post? Well, take it up with them. Here's what we've learned. We have a literal underground world in Washington, and an underground world of secret case law that you and I never knew about. There are judges who are appointed by one single man, and they speak only to special lawyers. They have the power to diminish both your civil rights and mine. It was this kind of court of law that compelled our founders to write a constitution. For years, progressives have been planning to disrupt our Bill of Rights and relegate our human rights to total irrelevance. When we can't even see what they're doing, when they're no longer doing things in front of us and we're not allowed to see what they're doing behind us, how are we expected to see and protect ourselves? Because they're doing it all behind our backs.